Hello and welcome back to another video. So this is kind of the end of year wrap-up videos, string of videos that you'll be seeing recently, and this one, as you can tell from the title, is all the series I completed in the year of 2025. I'm really excited because a lot of these I liked, some of them I didn't like, which you will definitely be hearing. So I'll give you the rating for each book individually and then my overall rating and some few thoughts and tidbits about each series. So starting out, the first series I finished at the beginning of this year, I read this series in January and February of this year, so it's been a minute. I don't fully remember the plot very well. I remember very key moments of the plot, but I've already told you guys this multiple times, I stink at summarizing plots, so I'm not going to attempt to do that in this video. But the first series I completed this year was the Wingfeather Saga by Andrew Peterson. I loved this series. It was so fun, so entertaining, and meant for children. It's meant for kids. I kind of could see middle schoolers to maybe some elementary schoolers, higher up elementary, who can read well, have good reading comprehension, would really enjoy the series. So the first book I gave 3 stars. I think out of all of them, this is the weakest book. I liked it. It's the smallest one, funny enough, but it has like the most amount of world building in it because it's just trying to set up these characters in this world that you really get to explore in the latter 3 books. So this one felt like a lot of, I don't want to say exposition because it wasn't, but it just kind of felt like a headache. I had to work my way through this book to get to the other ones, but honestly the rest of the series is so worth it. So even if this one might feel like a trug through the mud, the others are 10 out of 10 worth it for you to finish reading this book. And then we have the second one. This one I gave 4 stars. I like this one better. The adventure started picking up. It got more exciting. The plot was thickening. The characters were really growing in this one. So our 3 main characters, because I'm probably going to say their names later in this clip, are Janner, who is on the cover of this book. That's Janner. And then this is Tink, and then Lily, their little sister. These guys are all siblings. And then Lily is on the cover of the 3rd book. And each of these books does kind of follow the character on the front. So there is that. There is that. So I really enjoyed this one. Tink's character growth and experiences throughout this book were really interesting. In each character, each of these siblings has their own character and their own development throughout the series. So I really enjoyed this one. It was definitely a step up from the first one. And then we have the 3rd book, which I also gave 4 stars. This one, the beginning was slow because of just them being in a safe place, quotation marks. So it felt kind of slow, and the characters were kind of getting like their guards were kind of falling and things like that. And then it picked up. The middle to end of this book was crazy. The ending was crazy. Now that I'm like actually thinking about these books really, really hard, this was crazy. Anyways, this one was 4 stars. And then we have the 4th and final book. This one was 5 stars. It's the thickest of all of them, but it was so good. I cried. I got emotional. There was a section that I wasn't super invested in some of the characters that were in, but other than that, this book was so emotional. This honestly might have been one of the best series I read this year, where each book I would willingly reread again and not be annoyed about it. So, overall, I gave this series a 4.5 stars. It was so close to 5, but really that first book being kind of a grind for me personally to get through. If it wasn't, then it probably would have been a 5-star series. But it's so good, 10 out of 10 recommend, especially if you have young kids. I feel like this series would be great. And also Angel Studios did a an animated TV series about it. Season 1's not super accurate to book 1, but I think season 2 is a bit better. So yeah, it's really fun. My dad also read these books and my little brother, so it was really cool to kind of have a series that I can talk to them about because it was so good. All right. Next, we have The Hunger Games, the original trilogy. The prequels are not being counted in this. I read all 3 of these kind of sporadically. I can't remember when I picked each one. There are videos, so if you would like to go check out those videos, they are most likely just on my channel. You can find them pretty easily. But yeah, so the first Hunger Games, I gave 4 stars. I think it's a good start to this trilogy. I'm going to start this off by saying this isn't my favorite dystopian trilogy. So when it comes to that, this trilogy kind of gets a lower rating since it's not my favorite, but it's still really good. I liked this as an opening to the world of Panem, to the Hunger Games. It's a great introductory book to this world, and I think it did an incredible job. I also annotated all of these in those reading vlogs, so it was really cool because I had recently read Sunrise on the Reaping right before I picked up this reread. So it was cool to kind of go back through the trilogy, as I think this is my 2nd or 3rd time rereading it. And after reading both prequels, really getting to dive deep into the thick of the story. So yeah, I gave this one 4 stars. And then we have Catching Fire, which is actually my favorite book in this trilogy. I also gave this 4 stars. Also was annotated. And honestly, I like this one probably because Katniss is the least annoying in this book to me. She's at her least annoying state in this book, and I think this one truly, comparing it to Sunrise on the Reaping, and because we really do get to learn so much more about Haymitch's story, and then just what Katniss and Peeta find out about Haymitch, and after reading Sunrise on the Reaping, this book hits so much harder. And it's also like the last book with the Hunger Games in it, out of the trilogy. Obviously, there's only 3 books. So this one was the last one that really felt like a Hunger Games book, if that makes sense, because there was a Hunger Games in it. And then we come to my least favorite. We have Mockingjay with 3 stars. This one I did annotate a decent amount of it though, which is shocking to me. But this one gets 3 stars because Katniss is probably at her peak of annoying me. Gale is extremely annoying in this book. Peeta's just his struggles in this book got me annoyed at it. There were a lot of things that happened in this book that I just didn't enjoy and didn't really like. So it gets the lowest, which is why overall The Hunger Games gets 3 stars overall. Because it's not, look, my 3 stars is, it's good and I definitely recommend it to people. It just, there were some things like in the first book and the 3rd book that really just got on my nerves and make it hard for me to do rereads. So, yeah. Moving on. Next we have the Renegades trilogy by Marissa Meyer. We got these big boys. Alright, the first book, Renegades, I gave 5 stars. This is the best one in the trilogy. I'm saying that even though I did love the other 2, okay? I did love the latter 2 books in the trilogy. But to be honest, if you want to read this trilogy, but you only want to read the first one, you don't want to read the others, I'm okay with that. I may say, hey, you probably could try and read the other ones because it adds so much to the story, but if you don't want to, at least read the first one. That's what I will tell you. If you want to try the series, just at least read the first one. Marissa Meyer, I love her writing, and this was a really good sci-fi dystopian superhero villain book. It felt like I was reading a Marvel movie, it felt like I was reading a Marvel movie, but with teenagers instead of adults. It was really good. I loved this first book. That's why I got 5 stars. And now we move on to Arch Enemies, which is the second one. I gave this one 4 stars. It was good. But again, like I said earlier, second books and trilogies tend to kind of fall off a little bit. And I did feel that with this one. This one felt like it was what did I say? I said this in the video, me reading this, but this book feels like it's 100 pages too long. Which it's about like 400 or something. I can't remember now. It's like 469. This book felt 100 pages too long. Like, I felt like this book could probably stop. I actually remember what I said. It was like around like midway, it probably could have stopped. But I understand now with like the end of this book why she wanted to build up to the end. I just felt like this book was a little bit too long for me, but I would reread it. Like, I would reread this whole trilogy. I would reread, honestly, well, not every book in this video, but most of them. There is a section of ones that I may not reread some of the books in, but yes, that's Arch Enemies. It kind of did drop off a little bit for me, but it got picked right back up in the third book of Supernova, which I also gave 4 stars. This was so good. The ending, the final battle, people, I was a wreck. I didn't know how to feel. I was disoriented in the best way possible. Like, you're really meant to feel disoriented because the characters feel disoriented. I love this trilogy, and I would recommend it to, honestly, I'd recommend this to any teen guy who wants to get into reading and you like superheroes. It's a dual POV, so it follows Adrian and Nova, so it has both guy-girl POVs. And Adrian's pretty sick. So is Nova. They're actually pretty cool. So with this one, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a great end to the trilogy, and I think it really kind of upped up from Arch Enemies a bit. It kind of helped with the drop from Arch Enemies. It picked it up and went pew with it. But I still love the first one more. The first one's definitely still my favorite. So overall, I give this series a 4.75. This is one of the closer ones to a 5-star series for me, because the first one carries so much weight. And honestly, the third one, I feel like the second one, again, kind of drops off a little bit, but that's still my personal opinion. Alright, and then we move on to this one this may be a bit controversial. The Cruel Prince trilogy, plus I also have the bonus book here as well, but we're mainly talking about the trilogy. This is just bonus material. We're starting off with The Cruel Prince. I gave this book 4 stars. Everybody who recommends this series says you have to get through the first book to get to the good ones, which are the second and third. I kind of agree. This book is the longest out of all 3 of these, I think, and it's the one that takes the most amount of time. If someone tells you, read this book for Cardan and Jude, you do not get any really good Cardan and Jude until about... Actually, I could probably find out where it is. One second. I need to find part 2. No, that's too far. Okay, part 2. Where's part 2? Where's the part 2 thing? Give me 1 second. I'm flipping. Here it is. Till this way through the book. This is where you get some good Cardan and Jude. Most of this is all Jude being awesome. As someone who went into this knowing that it is not a romantasy, this is a fantasy with a subplot of romance that honestly does kick up a bit more in the latter 2 books, but this first one, I am telling you all right now, do not expect a bunch of romance. Expect a typical fantasy level of Jude being our main character being awesome, okay? She is awesome. I love her character. I love how she just decides to, you know what? If I can't join him, beat him. I'm switching. You can't beat him, join him. She does the opposite of that. She can't join him, so she's going to beat him. And I love the first book. Okay. And then the second one, I also gave 4 stars. This one definitely has a bit more Jude and Cardan moments. I definitely think... I wouldn't say this is the weaker of the 3. Honestly, if I was going to say if any of them were weak, it might be this one just because there's a lot. It's just long. There's a lot of brain power that gets put into the first one. I did like this one. Obviously, I gave it 4 stars. It was good. It was really good. I definitely want to reread it at some point. I think my favorite part about this was just Jude being epic. Honestly, my favorite part about all 3 of these was just Jude being cool. And she's definitely one of my favorite female main characters just because she's the morally gray one, which is the best thing ever. I love having female morally gray characters, and we don't get those. We don't get those. She is more, honestly, if we're comparing it to obviously her main ship, which is Cardan, she's the morally gray one, which you wouldn't think when you meet Cardan for the first time, like, oh yeah, he's definitely gonna be the more. No, Jude's 100% the morally gray one. You know that trend is like, looks like a cinnamon roll could kill you, looks like they could kill you as a cinnamon roll. That's them. Jude, well, I mean, Jude looks like she could kill you, and she would kill you, but she also can be a cinnamon roll. Look like she could kill you, and Cardan's a cinnamon roll. He looks like he could kill you, but is a cinnamon roll heart. And then we have the third book. I gave this also 4 stars. I think I liked this third book the most because you really do get, this is like the key Jude and Cardan relationship book. If you will get so much of Jude and Cardan in this book, and honestly, I wouldn't say it was the best part of this book, but it was definitely up there as one of my favorite parts of this book. And I also love just how strong and how powerful Jude is in this book. Like, she shows no mercy in this book. She really just proves why she deserves the position she has. I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't read it. So overall, I gave this series 4 stars because every book was a 4-star book. I mean, overall, I give it 4 stars. Now, I will say our bonus content honorable mention of the How the King of Elfheim Learned to Hate Stars, I gave this 3.5 stars. Did this play a little bit into my rating of the whole series? Just a smidge, but it is a good book, and I would recommend if you like Cardan and want to know more about him from this trilogy. So, next, this is a difficult one. Next, we have the Powerless trilogy by Lauren Roberts. I do have the mini novella, by the way. But that one's also, I consider kind of bonus content, similar to How the King of Elfheim is. Yeah, let's just get into this one. Okay, because I may have some... So, Powerless, I gave 5 stars. This is my favorite book of the whole trilogy. I love kind of almost the simplicity of it, if that sounds weird. But out of all of them, this one to me is like the least complicated to understand. This is the one that like tracks and makes sense to most of my brain. Wasn't in a tizzy trying to read it. And I love all the Paden and Kai moments we get in this book. And honestly, I think I just love this book. This one has a great story. I do love its kind of, yeah, just it's very simple compared to the last book. I'm gonna say compared to the last book. So I gave this 5 stars. And then we have Reckless. So actually, when I first read this, I gave it 5 stars. Looking back on it now, and I changed it, I gave it 4. Because as much as I love all the Kai and Paden gold that we get in this book, I do have to agree with some people on the internet that this plot isn't super interesting. But as a character-driven reader, it doesn't bother me as much. But I will say that the plot is kind of repetitive. They get captured, they free themselves. They get captured, they free themselves. They get captured, they free themselves. It is very much that repetitive plot. I didn't mind it that much. That's why I gave it 4 stars now. I did like it. I think it's a good kind of break before we get to the third one. Because the third one I have some thoughts about the third one. So, but I still gave the third one, which is Fearless, 5 stars. And the reason for that being is my emotional state while reading this book was a total wreck. And if you know what scene I'm talking about, you know. Quite a few scenes, but mainly the certain scene. This book was confusing at times. I really didn't like getting a certain character's POV. But, like, I still loved it. I loved it for reasons of just purely my experience while reading it. There were a lot of plot twists and things that I don't know, again, looking back on it, I don't know how well executed they were. I still love it. I would still keep this one at 5 stars just because the emotional roller coaster I was on while reading it made it worth it. But there were times where I was just like, what? Huh? You're kidding. That. So that's why I gave it such a high rating, because I really wasn't expecting like anything that happened in this book. And you can take that as you will if it was a good thing or a bad thing. So overall, I gave this series a 4.75. Plus, by the way, I gave Powerful Novella 5 stars. So yeah, I gave this whole series 4.75. I think it's, again, similar to Renegades. I really enjoy this series. So next, we have Once Upon a Broken Heart. I may get some controversial opinions here. first book, which is the Once Upon a Broken Heart book, I gave this 3 stars. I didn't like it very much. I felt Evangeline was kind of whiny, and a very heavy on the damsel in distress plot with her. Overly trusting, not very good at judging people, and like she judges people by their like she needs to learn to be a little bit more hesitant with people, which she does, by the way. As the books go on, she definitely grows. There's definitely some character development. But yeah, the first one I didn't love that much. It was okay. I think it's a good book. That's why I gave it 3 stars. It's a good book, would recommend. Now, The Ballad of Never After. 5 stars. Favorite Stephanie Garber book right here. Loved this book. Ate this book up. This was so good. I 10 out of 10 recommend it. Okay? Great book. Loved it. 5 stars. Had no other words. Go watch my reading vlog of this book. It was so good. Okay? I was in a reading slump. This got me out of that reading slump. Loved it. Amazing. Awesome. Moving on. To the probably most controversial take of this series is A Curse What You Love. I also gave this 5 stars purely, before you start yelling at your screens, purely because of the setup and ending of this book that carried on into this one, and the ending of this book. Okay, Apollo, if you know, you know, the ending of with Apollo made my day. Made my day. And just the ending of this being what it was. I don't want to spoil it, obviously, but I genuinely enjoyed mainly the ending. The ending of this book is what made this book worth it. And I cannot wait for the Jackson Evangeline novella that is coming out at some point. I'm so excited. But yeah, that's why that's got 5 stars, purely because of the setup at the end of this one, and then the ending of this book really did kind of put it over the edge. So, in total, our overall rating for this series is 4.5 stars. I enjoyed it. It was great. I would definitely reread this middle book again. I don't know if I'd reread these other 2. That's what I was saying. Like, I don't know if I'd ever pick up this one again. I think I would just go immediately to the second one. I don't know. Maybe I'll annotate these, because I started doing that with Caraval. So maybe I'll go through and annotate them. I don't know. That's a question for another time. Now, next, we only have 2 series left in this video. I didn't read that many. I didn't finish that many series this year. So next is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. Now, you guys may be mad at me for this one. First book, 4 stars. Loved it, annotated it, read this twice this year. Oh, I should have said that. I read The Cruel Prince also twice this year. Read this twice, was so good. This is my favorite book in the Caraval trilogy. I love Scarlet. In this trilogy, you're either a Tella girl or Scarlet girl. It's very hard to be both. I've tried. I'm only a Scarlet girl. I'm a Scarlet and Julian girl. As much as I like Tella and Dante, I prefer Scarlet and Julian, and I wish that they were not put on the sideline in later books. Gave this 4 stars. Now we move on to Legendary. This book follows Tella, the sister that I am not a huge fan of, and I gave this 3 stars. I liked it. It was okay. I would recommend, but it really wasn't. I also annotated this. There's very few annotations in this entire book. Fun fact. Compared to Caraval, there is very little on here. Okay. It was an experience. I'm not saying it was a bad book at all. I don't like Tella very much. So reading a book in the POV of a character you don't really enjoy in general makes the book a lot harder to enjoy. And then we have Finale, which was supposed to be, and I say supposed to be, a dual story of both Tella and Scarlet. Scarlet still got pushed to the side in this book, and that it ticked me off when I was reading this. I'm like, I don't want Tella, okay? Stop giving me so much Donatella. If I was to count how many Donatella chapters are in here compared to Scarlet chapters, I am telling you Donatello will win, and look how big this book is. I gave this book 4 stars, though, because there was Scarlet in it. Sorry, I'm dying. Ugh. Okay. I gave this 4 stars because of the snippets of Scarlet and Julian we got were worth it for powering through this book. Overall, I gave this series 3 stars. It's definitely not as good as the Once Upon a Broken Heart series is to me, but I would recommend reading these. Honestly, I do still recommend reading these first, and then reading Once Upon a Broken Heart, because it really does kind of help you get immersed in at least a little bit of the world, and kind of understand some lines that are in, specifically Ballad of Never After, that hit harder after reading this. So, last but honestly probably least is the To All the Boys I Loved Before trilogy by Jenny Han. I did not really like the latter 2 books in this trilogy, but I'm getting ahead of myself. First book, To All the Boys I Loved Before, I gave 4 stars. This was my favorite one out of the trilogy. It was good, it was cute, it was a good first book. Honestly, just read this one and you don't need to read the other 2. This one's pretty good. I don't feel like you have to read the other 2. Just read the one and done. Do I regret reading the other 2? Not really, but I really think that you can just read this one and be fine. P.S. I Still Love You. I gave this 3 stars. It wasn't bad. It wasn't horrible. I do think that Laura Jean picked the wrong guy in the end. That's my opinion. That's all I'm really going to say about that. And then we have Always and Forever Laura Jean. I gave this 2.5 stars. I did not like this book. Purely because I think that Laura Jean picked the wrong guy in the end of the second one, and she's with that guy in this one, and I really just didn't like it. I honestly, his character bothers me. He's kind of annoying, kind of a jerk. Especially in some moments of this book, okay? Yeah. So, there's that. So those are all the series that I completed in the year of 2025. Let me count. How many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I finished 8 series this year. I'm very happy. I reread the first books of 2 of them. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope it was enlightening and informational. I don't think that's a word. And informative. That's the word I was looking for. And yeah, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.